And now, the best 60-ish seconds of your week. Hoping that all of you had a blessed and relaxed Thanksgiving Day with family and friends and football and fun, and that Black Friday wasn't too stressful for any. And as we look forward to Cyber Monday, there's the day following, Giving Tuesday, the opportunity for all of us to give back just a portion and to say thank you to God once again for all He has given to us by sharing our bounty with others. So look at your favorite charity, and on Tuesday, remember, it's Giving Tuesday, because Wednesday, we're back to the same old slog as the House Judiciary Committee now takes up the impeachment proceedings. You might recall that Jerry Nadler, the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, had this shebang until it was taken away from him because the Democratic leadership didn't think he was doing a good PR job. They turned it over to Adam Schiff, and how did that work out? Now it's back with Nadler, and he says more hearings, more of this, more of that. Ultimately, though, we kind of know, don't we, where this is all going to end up? Unless something really unforeseen happens, the House is, in point of fact, going to send out articles of impeachment to the floor for a vote. They're probably going to pass it. It'll go over to the Senate, and they are, unless something really unforeseen occurs, going to summarily shoot it down. What happens in the interim, though, has some tremendous political consequences, and we're already beginning to see the first wave of those in the boomerang effect that's working against the National Democrats. In state after state, the swing states, polls suggest that support for President Trump is actually picking up, that independents in particular are very down on the whole idea of impeachment. They think things ought to be decided at the ballot box. And moreover, you look at the numbers themselves. That's why the Democrats, at least some of them, were trotting out the idea of a censure resolution last week rather than going the full way of impeachment. That's not going to happen. But what was instructive was Congresswoman Brenda Lawrence from Michigan, a swing state, who said on television on Monday that she thought there was no value, those were her words, no value to going down the road of impeachment, and she was encouraging support for the censure resolution. By Monday afternoon, she was back on the impeachment wagon. Guess who got to her? So how many of those Democrats can Speaker Pelosi, Chairman Schiff, Chairman Nadler actually convince to walk the plank for them? You'll hear that the magic number is 218. That's how many a full Congress is required votes to get in order to pass the articles of impeachment, but I suggest that the real number is 31. Those are the number of Democrats sitting in seats which were won by Donald Trump in 2016. All but a couple of those ran on platforms that were much, much closer to President Trump. They were the so-called centrist and even right-of-center Democrats who ran on platforms including not wanting to vote for Nancy Pelosi for Speaker, etc. How many of them are willing to go along? At least two weren't when it was simply procedural. Now that we get to the actual overturning of an election potentially, how many will? Don't know. But it's still likely that they'll have enough votes to get it to the Senate where we know the fate that awaits it. Interestingly, 6 Democrats will be required to sit through that trial rather than being out on the campaign trail in Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, South Carolina, and the other early states. They won't even be allowed under the Senate rules to talk about it. Think about what's going through their minds right now. Meanwhile, as we tape this, the 4th consecutive day of record highs in the markets, gradually creeping up closer and closer to the 30,000 threshold that I've suggested is the place at which President Trump is relatively unassailable next year in the election. Over 21,100 as we tape this and moving upward. All that on merely the suggestion that a deal is going to come with China. Not a mega package, but a mini deal. Not even, the full shamir. So we will have to see how the economy continues to improve. But watch that 30,000 mark. It's going to be the critical cut in 2020. But for now, hopefully you've had a great Thanksgiving and look forward to a great week ahead, because that is the best 60-ish seconds of your week.